Before age 5, something extraordinary is happening inside your child's brain. Something more powerful than anything else you will influence in their entire life. Right now, this very second, over 1 million neural connections are forming every single second. And the unbelievable part? You are the architect. Not a fancy school, not an expensive toy. You, through your face, your voice, your touch, your responsiveness, your presence. What if I told you that the way you interact with your child in these early years literally shapes the wiring that will determine their intelligence, emotional stability, behavior, confidence, resilience, and even their lifelong mental health? What if I told you that every giggle, every back and forth moment, every cuddle, every book, every tiny emotional exchange is sculpting the brain that they're going to live with for the rest of their life? Most parents don't realize this because no one teaches us how powerful these early years truly are. But once you understand the science behind what's happening, you start to see parenting through a completely different lens. You stop worrying about perfection, and you start focusing on what actually moves the needle: connection, presence, interaction. Let me start with something many parents never hear clearly enough. Your child's brain is not finished at birth. In fact, it's only about 25% developed. The remaining 75% grows through interaction, through the way your child experiences you and the world. Think of the brain like a construction site. You are not just the parent. You are the builder, the foreman, the electrician, the architect, and the engineer. And the building materials? They are simple: your words. Your attention, your facial expressions, your smiles, your gestures, your patience, your comfort, your play. This is why scientists use the term serve and return. It means your child serves something: a look, a sound, a gesture, a question, a cry, a laugh, and you return it with responsiveness. That tiny moment is not just cute, it is literally forming synapses. It's strengthening neural pathways. It's building emotional circuits. It's teaching your child what safety feels like, what communication feels like, what learning feels like. These micro moments are how children become confident, calm, curious, and emotionally secure. Let me give you a simple example. When your toddler points at something and you look at it with them, naming it, describing it, engaging in that moment, you are firing up language centers, social skills, emotional intelligence, and cognitive processing all at once. You are not just being a good parent. You are building architecture inside their brain, and the earlier this starts, the stronger and more efficient these pathways become. This is why the first 5 years are often called the critical window. It's not a dramatic phrase, it's biological fact. The brain is more plastic, more absorbent, more rapidly developing in these years than at any other time in life. And that means every ordinary day, every simple moment is an opportunity. And before we go deeper into the practical tools like how to boost intelligence, emotional strength, resilience, and language through everyday interactions, take a moment to help this community grow. Comment below with your child's age and tell me what part of early development you wish you understood better. Your comment might help another parent who feels exactly the same way. And if you're passionate about giving your child the strongest foundation in life, subscribe to the Parenting Blueprint so you never miss the weekly videos that turn parenting science into simple, life-changing strategies. Now that you understand just how rapidly your child's brain is developing before age 5, let's uncover how these neural connections are actually built. And here's the surprising part. It has nothing to do with teaching letters early, memorizing numbers, or rushing academic skills. What builds the brain is interaction, not instruction, engagement, not performance, connection, not pressure. A baby learns the world by looking into your eyes. A toddler learns language by hearing you speak and responding to them. A 3-year-old learns emotional regulation by watching your facial expressions, your tone, and the way you soothe them during frustration. These early experiences become wiring instructions for the brain. And it all starts with something incredibly simple: emotional responsiveness. When your child cries, points, babbles, reaches, or looks at you, and you respond with warmth, eye contact, and patience, their brain releases a cascade of chemicals that strengthen neural connections. Oxytocin, the bonding hormone, teaches the brain the world is safe. Cortisol, the stress hormone, drops. Dopamine, the motivation hormone, rises. These tiny biochemical shifts build emotional stability, confidence, and the ability to trust. Now imagine the opposite. When a child's signals go unanswered, ignored, or dismissed repeatedly, their brain adapts too, but in a different direction. It becomes wired for stress, anxiety, hypervigilance, or emotional shutdown. It's not because parents don't love their children. It's because many parents were never taught how important responsiveness truly is. So let's break down the interaction process through something you do every day: talking. Not lecturing, not commanding, talking with your child. When you narrate your day, name feelings, describe objects, explain routines, and pause to let your child respond, even if the response is a giggle or a babble, you are strengthening the language center of the brain. You're strengthening memory, comprehension, and processing speed. These back-and-forth exchanges are more powerful than any flashcard, worksheet, or early learning app. Another powerful builder? Facial expressions. Your face is your child's first emotional classroom. Through your expressions, they learn what joy looks like, what comfort feels like, how empathy works, and what calmness is. When your child throws a tantrum and you stay centered, not necessarily happy, but grounded, they learn that big feelings are survivable. When you mirror their joy, they learn connection. When you model deep breaths, they learn regulation. When you kneel to their level, they feel seen. And then there's something most parents underestimate: play, especially physical face-to-face play. Tossing a ball, building blocks, rolling cars, pretend games, peekaboo. These aren't just cute activities. They activate motor areas, planning areas, social areas, memory areas, language areas, and emotional circuits all at once. That's why play is the single richest learning environment for a child under 5. It wires their brain to think, imagine, explore, and problem solve. Even cuddling builds the brain. Warm touch regulates the nervous system. It teaches safety. It builds secure attachment, which research shows is one of the strongest predictors of emotional health in adulthood. Hugging your child is not spoiling them. It is strengthening their brain's stress response system. In the next section, we'll explore how reading, storytelling, and the rhythm of your voice can transform your child's cognitive development, and why these simple activities predict school success more than early academic drilling ever could. One of the most powerful brain-building tools you can offer your child before age 5 requires no money, no special equipment, and no expertise. It's simply reading and storytelling. But here's the secret. The magic isn't in the book itself, it's in you. When you read to your child, your voice becomes the soundtrack that wires their auditory system, their language pathways, and their emotional centers. The rhythm, tone, pauses, and warmth you bring to a story help shape the parts of the brain responsible for language, attention, memory, imagination, and even empathy. A child who is read to regularly isn't just learning words. They're learning how stories work, how ideas connect, how to picture possibilities, and how to stay focused. But even more importantly, reading is a moment of shared attention. It tells your child, you matter, your presence matters, our time together matters. And that sense of importance, repeated daily, becomes part of their internal identity. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't need fancy books or long stories. You can read the same book over and over. Children actually love repetition because their brains are trying to master patterns. You can tell simple stories from your childhood. You can describe what you see outside the window. You can make up silly stories about their toys. What matters is the interaction, the presence, and the rhythm of your voice. Another overlooked brain builder is something so basic you might not even think of it: narrating everyday life. When you talk your child through daily routines, now we're washing hands, look how the water feels, we're drying them off, here's your soft towel. You're strengthening both emotional bonding and language skills at the same time. You're also building executive functioning. because narration helps children understand sequences, cause and effect, and the meaning of actions. Face-to-face time is another essential ingredient. Babies and toddlers learn more from human faces than any device, toy, or cartoon. When you interact directly, when you smile, raise your eyebrows, mimic their sounds, or follow their gaze, you're building what researchers call serve and return. It's a back-and-forth exchange that literally wires intelligence, social skills, and emotional stability. Without serve and return, the brain's architecture becomes shaky. With it, the brain becomes strong. This is why screens slow development before age 5, not because screens are evil, but because they interrupt the back-and-forth pattern. Screens talk at children, not with them. Let's talk about one more powerful builder, naming emotions. When your child feels something big, frustration, sadness, excitement, and you calmly name it for them, you're feeling frustrated because the block tower fell, or you're excited to show me your drawing. You're wiring the emotional regulation centers in their brain. You're strengthening the part of the brain that helps them manage impulses, calm themselves, and think clearly under stress. Emotion naming isn't about fixing the feeling, it's about helping the brain understand it. And that understanding becomes the foundation for emotional intelligence. In the next part, we'll talk about confidence, how young children actually develop it, how everyday interactions shape it, and how your presence, not your perfection, is what turns your child into someone who believes they can handle the world. Confidence is often misunderstood. Many parents think confidence comes from praise, encouragement, or telling a child they're smart or special. But real confidence, the kind that lasts into adulthood, is built through experience, not compliments. And before age 5, the experiences that matter most are surprisingly small. Think about the last time your child tried something that was just a little bit hard. Stacking blocks, zipping a jacket, climbing a step, fitting a puzzle piece. In those moments, something incredible happens inside the brain. Struggle creates a tiny spark of frustration, and that spark activates a part of the brain responsible for problem solving, persistence, and mastery. When your child pushes through that moment, even for just 2 or 3 seconds, new neural pathways form. This is literally how the brain wires confidence. But here's the part most parents don't realize. The confidence wiring only forms if the child experiences the effort themselves. If you jump in too fast, if you fix, help, guide, or rescue, the brain doesn't get the chance to build those pathways. And over time, the child learns something unintended. Someone else will handle this for me. Or even worse, I must not be capable. This doesn't mean we abandon children or let them struggle alone. It means we create a safe space where they can try, and we stay close, supportive, and emotionally steady. Experts call this scaffolding. You're not doing the job for the child, you're providing just enough support so they can succeed on their own terms. Maybe you hold the shoe while they push their foot in. Maybe you point to where the puzzle piece might fit without placing it for them. Maybe you say, try again slowly, instead of taking over. These micro moments of independence are brain-changing. Another crucial builder of confidence is predictable routines. When children know what happens next, the brain relaxes. Predictability gives young children a sense of control, which leads to better behavior, stronger emotional stability, and deeper confidence. A simple routine, breakfast, play, cleanup, reading, transitions, gives the brain structure. And structured brains feel safer. Safe brains learn better. Next comes interactive play. When you sit with your child and follow their lead, letting them choose the game, direct the action, or tell you what the toy is doing, you're doing far more than bonding. You're teaching leadership, creativity, decision-making, and social skills. This kind of play is essentially an early training ground for confidence. But the biggest source of confidence, without question, is your emotional tone. The way you respond in moments of stress teaches your child how to handle their own stress. For example, when your child spills milk and you say, "Oops, let's clean it together," instead of reacting with frustration, the brain learns, mistakes are manageable, I'm not bad, I can fix things. That single moment builds emotional resilience far more than any lecture ever could. Confidence before age 5 is not about achievement. It's about experience. It's about letting children participate in life, try things, make small mistakes, and feel the warmth of a parent who believes they can grow. In the next section, we'll look at how screens interfere with brain formation, how affection strengthens neural pathways, and the tiny habits you can start today that build intelligence, emotional stability, and lifelong curiosity. Before age 5, your child's brain is unbelievably open, absorbing patterns, emotions, sounds, gestures, routines, and interactions at a speed that never happens again in life. But just as interaction builds the brain, certain forces can interrupt or weaken that process. And one of the biggest is something most parents struggle with today: screens. This isn't about guilt or shame. It's about understanding what screens replace. The brain only builds strong neural pathways when a child interacts with the real world. Faces, voices, hands, movement, objects, textures, problem-solving, emotional exchanges. A screen can entertain, distract, even teach vocabulary, but it cannot offer serve and return communication. It doesn't mimic your facial expressions. It doesn't pause to let your child respond. It doesn't adapt to your child's emotions or provide the micro-interactions that wire emotional intelligence. When screen time becomes frequent in early childhood, it doesn't just delay learning. It displaces the very experiences that build the brain. Children need thousands of tiny human interactions every day. Look at this. What's that sound? Can you stack this? Let's try again. I see you're upset. Come here, I've got you. 5 minutes of meaningful interaction is more valuable than an hour of passive viewing. But one thing screens can never replace is affection, one of the strongest forces in early brain development. Warm touch regulates the nervous system, accelerates bonding, and builds emotional resilience. When you hug your child, hold their hand, stroke their hair, or cuddle during a book, you're helping regulate their stress response and teaching them what safety feels like. A child who knows safety intuitively becomes a child who can eventually calm themselves when the world feels overwhelming. Next, let's talk about the tiny habits that build lifelong success. Many parents think they need huge routines or complex activities, but the science says otherwise. Brain development thrives on small, repeatable experiences. A 1-minute naming game. A short walk outside describing what you see. A quick conversation during snack time. A silly face-to-face exchange. A slow, patient moment during frustration. These micro-patterns accumulate, becoming the blueprint for how your child learns, copes, communicates, and connects. Over time, these small, consistent habits create a resilient, curious, emotionally strong child who feels anchored in your presence. One of the most powerful habits you can build is the 30-second pause. When your child struggles, closing a zipper, building a tower, expressing a feeling, pause, wait, breathe, let them try. Those 30 seconds give the brain space to attempt, struggle, adjust, and succeed. That moment wires independence far more than stepping in to fix things immediately. A child who gets these 30-second opportunities grows more patient, confident, and capable. Another simple tool is the try 3 times method. Before rushing to solve something for your child, invite them to try 3 times. Whether it's solving a puzzle, putting on shoes, or expressing themselves, those 3 attempts build problem-solving pathways that last for life. The goal isn't perfection, it's practice. Everything you do before age 5 matters, but not because parenting should be heavy or intense. It matters because these years are powered by moments, small, connected, loving, human moments. And the greatest gift you can give your child during this window is presence, not pressure. Before we wrap up, I'd love to hear from you. Comment below with one interaction you plan to focus on this week. Reading, naming emotions, slowing down during frustration, or more face-to-face play. Your ideas may help another parent who needs the same encouragement. And if you're committed to raising emotionally strong, confident, future-ready kids, make sure you subscribe to the Parenting Blueprint so you never miss the weekly videos that transform parenting science into simple steps for everyday life.